but thankfully I have cheerful Ciarra here right next to me. So Ciarra, what's up? How you doing?
I mean, good morning, everybody. Good morning, chat. Obviously, the Yankees have been very frustrating to watch lately. However, I am still remaining positive. I think we still can make a run at this World Series. I'm happy that this slump is happening in June and not August, because if it happens in August, then that's going to carry over to the postseason. But everybody is slumping at one time, so it feels like the world is ending, and I think we will be okay. I think if we make it to the All-Star break, we're going to be okay, guys. How are you feeling, Lynn?
I feel embarrassed, mortified, aggravated, out of my mind with anger because, and it's going to pass because you know what? I could feel all those things and still be a diehard. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anyone coming at me anywhere saying, you're a bandwagon, fan. No, been here since 1972. Thank you very much. Yes, this makeup helps a little, but I'm old as dirt. So no, I have a right, and we all have the right to have a little rage when we need to. So that's why I pulled out an SAT dictionary and found I wanted it to be alliterative. So that's why I'm livid, Lynn, today. And so let's do a little temperature check of our friends in the chat. We got a nice full house so far. We got hey, Fortrain, great to see you, Maza. Lori, welcome back. It's been a minute. Great to see you. Lori's asking, how will the Yanks disappoint us today? You know,
We'll find out.
will I be livider? Probably, maybe. At least we have a chance at winning the series, but not feeling so good about anything right now. And NFE, well, thank you for all those O's. Speaking of the O's, they're a game above us now. But anywho, yes. Good morning, NFE. We got Sean. We got Ken. And we've got Jacob. Nice to see you. And Jared. Hey, welcome back, Joan. Good morning. Good to see you, Jared. Joe. Good to see you, Trivia Joe. And Nosebleed section. Great to have you with us. And more. And my sister Karen's here. Hey, Karen and Michael. Great to see you as well. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the week that we just barely lived through. Okay. Let's start with the local embarrassment of the Battle of the Boroughs. That Mets series was a crime upon humanity. It was embarrassing. It made us look like bad news bears. And I'm thinking we need dancers to stand on dugouts now. I'm thinking all sorts of crazy shit now because, like, how did they do this to us? Um, any thoughts on the Mets sphere? I'm gonna take a breath. What do you think on the Mets?
So have you ever watched Space Jam, and you know how the aliens come and they steal all of the talent from the players? I think the Mets did that to the Yankees. They sent their little aliens over to the Bronx and they stole the talent right out from underneath us and kept it all for themselves. Because I watched the Mets play in person last Saturday. They did not look that good. And then they came out and lit the Yankees up. And you know what's crazy? So Harrison Bader, I have a huge soft spot for him. I knew he was going to hit a home run off of us in that first game, but first pitch swinging off of Garrett Cole home run, like, come on, what is up with that? And then freaking, so I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong. Okay, back in April, I made a tweet about Francisco Lindor when he was struggling, kind of mocking the Mets fans. Yeah, he made me eat my words. Okay, Francisco Lindor is on a hot streak right now, and he ate the Yankees up. Also, I don't know why Garrett Cole can't pitch in Citi Field. He has some terrible numbers there, and I'm going to need him to figure it out next year because that can't continue.
It definitely can't continue. And, Ken's making a similar point by saying, if you think Cole is going to lock down the Jays, that's going to disappoint you then. Right. Yeah. And so, I think somebody reasonable, whose name is not mine, because I'm not been my usual reasonable self this week at all, said we got to remember that this is really Cole spring training, you know,
Mm.
and so he's still stretching it out. And Ciarra, I know you have a POV on this as well. You think you have an opinion about this, right?
Yeah, I've been saying it for the past, I think, 2 weeks, and there's been some pretty differing opinions. I truly believe that we rushed Cole back from his rehab when Poteet went down because, Schmidt went down, but we had Poteet to cover him. Poteet
Yeah.
came up, was lights out. Nobody expected it, except for me because we have the same last name, and obviously I knew he was going to shove. But then Poteet went down with that weird injury because he's a Yankee, and that's what they do. So then we went and we rushed Cole back, and he wasn't ready. He's hasn't had a full spring training, and you can see it on the mound, and you can see the frustration in his face. What is he at now? 7.2 innings. That's not Garrett Cole. I know he'll be okay, and I don't have long-term doubts about him. But right now, it's really hard to watch because it's not the Garrett Cole that we know and love, and he's giving up these home runs. And I think it was against the Mets. He had four fast seam fastballs right down the middle of the plate, back to back to back to back. That's not Garrett Cole. He wasn't ready. I mean, maybe he'll look better today against the Jays because it's been 2 games now. But the Blue Jays, they have our number in this series, and they're swinging. IKF and Vladgro Jr. have teamed up to just bully us.
I think there's a conspiracy. I think the teams we're facing are being fed with MLB's blessing ultra PEDs, and so that they are like amped and hormoned to the hilt. And I think it's with the blessing of the commissioner at this point. I'm at the point where I'm at the conspiracy level theory, conspiracy theory level. Jared, I want to know, did you read the notes for the show? Because I literally I have in there about Volpe. I guess I saw the same tweet you did about that. Yeah, since the Minnesota series. I think I had less gray hair back then, for sure.
I don't think so. I did know that about Volpe, but I think the thing about Volpe, he should never be considered a home run hitter. He's not a power hitter by any means. People love to compare him to Derek Jeter, and this is the one instance where he actually compares to Jeter. Jeter was never a power hitter. Volpe's not a power hitter, and I think that's why Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. will always be considered better shortstops than him because they are power hitters. Volpe's not, but Volpe gets on base, so I really can't hate it. He gets those singles, doubles. He has speed, and he knows when to take a walk too, and that's hard to find in these young guys.
Absolutely, and at least his slump is pretty much behind him, and he's getting on. Mm-hmm. What I'm waiting to see is if he's in the lineup today, though, because I am concerned about that bash, because his head got hit too. When he went down, the focus was on his ankle, I guess it was, his foot. But it wasn't lost on me, that because they replayed it so many times. Yeah, no, Jared, don't apologize. No, Jared, what I was saying, let me go back to this for a minute. Jared, what I was saying is because I'm old, I write things down I want to make sure I mention before we come on. And I had written that down. So that's what I meant, that in my show, it was in my show notes. It was just a joke that funny, you're fine. We're fine. It was just a little joke. I was just saying, yeah, you and me found the same thing and thought it was important to say. So I want to go back to Ken's comment because if we're going to talk about Cole, we need to talk about Heel because, and we've had Heel a second time since the Mets series. And he's still not doing the thing that we had his first, few outings. So what's going on there?
He's tired.
He's tired.
It's fatigue. It's fatigue. He's coming off of an injury, and I know it's been some time since his injury, but he's not used to pitching all of these innings. And I know there are Yankees fans who want to stretch Heel as far as possible, but I am not willing to ruin this kid's arm for a World Series. I want him in the long run to be on this team. So the Yankees either need to figure out what they're going to do with him. I don't even know what I was going to say there. The Yankees need to figure out what they're going to do with him because he's fatigued. You can see it. And you could see it even in the beginning of the season, that third time through the order, he was getting fatigued because it's a little much for him. Now, do I think second half of the season is going to look different for him? Of course, because we get that All-Star break, he gets some time off, and I think he'll be okay. But I don't know. That's one of my biggest hot takes this season in general is Luis Heel. I don't want to ruin his arm just for one World Series. That concerns me.
Right. Yeah. And obviously, this is very same with Cole. And so while we completely do not have the luxury of, giving them opportunities for rest, at the same time, they really need it. So it's a catch-22. And Karen, Karen, I know you're talking about Cole. Yeah, we're going to have to expect more games of rough outings, but to Ciarra's point, maybe he needs a few more games down below, and figuring some more stuff out there, because it's also not good for his own juju, right? Because the way he gets in his head, let's just do. I think this is a case where Cole, even more than Heel, could use another couple of days down, down in AAA, and come back up. Maybe even if it's, in between his turn, but then we throw his cadence off and all that nonsense. So I really don't know, and I want to get to. I came in so hot and fast that I haven't opened with Spencer's trivia question, which I have, which I'll go to in a minute. But I just want to finish off with, I also want to talk about IKF, because, and you mentioned it with Bader. So like the resurgence bandwagon, like went in the shop, got like amped up to the max because Bader was hot, and IKF, for crying out loud, he's like Vladdy Jr. this series. And probably even showing Vladdy Jr. up a little bit, which I don't mind, except when it's against us. So why couldn't we have had this IKF all the time? And I love IKF.
So I'm an IKF stan. I'm an IKF girly. I think when he was with us in 2022, when they put him at shortstop, the fan base ate him alive too quickly. They never gave him a chance. 2023, he came back and showed us that he has what it takes to be that ultra utility guy, and he never once complained. And I think that's the reason I love IKF, is because I love Major League Baseball players who just do the work and do what it takes to change their game, right? He was 4 for 5 last night. He's hitting 302 at home this season. Like, he is literally the MVP of the Blue Jays right now, behind Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's played 3 different positions against us in this series. And I think that a lot of fans forget he won a Gold Glove at third base, and the Yankees never gave him the opportunity to play third base. I understand they brought him over to play shortstop, but that was a bad move by the Yankees. He's not a shortstop. Now, he played shortstop yesterday and did pretty good, so I guess you can't really complain. But he and Vlad Guerrero Jr. are just bullying us. It's insane. Also, fans are saying Vlad is auditioning to be a New York Yankee. I hate Vlad Guerrero Jr. with a passion. Like, and it's not like, I know Yankees fans were upset about Marcus Stroman, but it's different. Like, I just hate his face. And I hate the things he said about the Yankees. And every time I see him, I just want to puke. So he can stay in Toronto. We don't want him. Or I don't want him. I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't want him.
No, I think he should be like forbidden to cross a border. I don't care if we have to play all games in Toronto. I don't want him in my country. That's how much I don't like him. And Joe, that's hysterical. Yeah, IK Bonds. Yeah, he was definitely
100%.
IKB more than IKF. And good for him, just not on our time. And by the way, Vladdy already put his foot down that he's never wants to be a Yankee. So
he walked that comment back recently. He walked it back. He said if they offered him a contract, he would play for us. Because at the end of the day, no matter what they say, everybody wants to be a New York Yankee. The pinstripes wear differently than any other uniform in this league, and I don't care what they say in their interviews. They would all kill to be a New York Yankee.
Absolutely, and if given the opportunity and the right amount of dollars, we'd be seeing him. So this is where I want Hal to be cheap if it comes to that. I want him to low ball so low that I'm not going to get nasty about it. find the lowest ball someone has. Let's and just do that. Yeah, Lori,
I,
I am
I,
looking. Go ahead,
I,
Ciarra.
I seen Nosebleed's comment asking if we'd rather have Jemai Jones or Vladdy as my DH. I don't want either, Nosebleed. I want Daddy Stanton to be okay and to come back and be my DH. That's what I want.
Right, and that's what we're going to get. Period. So I fully am throwing down right now that we'll have Big G back after the All-Star break, just in time when we need him for the bombs out of the park, for the chase. And I'm hoping it's not a chase. Go ahead.
He's already running on the treadmill, so I think he'll be back quicker than he has in the past.
Right.
I think he's way healthier this season than he has been in the past. So I 100% believe he'll be back after the All-Star break.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it. I will take that. Thank you so much. I'm a little less livid. I'm sure something will come up that's going to get me back up there. Oh, here it is. Yankees have lost 10 of the last 15, everybody. What the flying F? And, let's talk about men on base. So the Yankees have, as of yesterday, have had at least 2 runners in the first inning in 4 of their last 5. And haven't scored any first inning runs. The same hasn't been true of the teams that they've been opposed to, who have killed every first inning, from the Mets on through to the Blue Jays right now. So what are we going to do about that? 10 straight games that the other team has scored first. 10 straight. Do I need to say it again louder? 10 straight games that the other guys scored first. Go ahead.
I think it's a double-edged sword, though, because our pitching has not been that good in the last 10 to 15 games. Our pitchers have been getting lit up, so they're giving up those runs very easily. How many first-inning home runs have we seen in the last 10 games? Like, it's kind of painful to watch. Now, with that being said, when the bases are loaded, the Yankees need to capitalize. And by Yankees, I mean everybody behind Aaron Judge, okay? Like, I need Glaber, Verdugo, LeMahieu, Jemai Jones, if you're the DH, Grisham, JD Davis finally got his first hit as a New York Yankee. It took a little too long. Like, they all need to capitalize in those opportunities, because right now, if I was a starting pitcher for any other team in the league, I'm not pitching to Aaron Judge, because all I have to do is put him on base, and then I get 3 easy outs right behind him. Same with Juan Soto. He'll take the walk, so I'm going to put him on base. Nothing's going to happen if I put Aaron Judge on base right behind him. So something's got to give, but I do think really a lot of it goes to the pitchers.
How would you so you're talking about retooling the lineup a bit then?
Yeah, so I've had this conversation a little bit recently, and I love consistency in the lineup, and we had it in the beginning of the season, but right now with the slump and the struggles, so Verdugo is trying too hard. He's trying to do too much in that cleanup spot with Stanton out. I would slot him at the 2, and then do 3 Soto, clean up Judge. And I understand that's taking at-bats away from Judge, and that's not really what we want to do, but it really doesn't hurt to try at this point, losing so much. I would keep Gleyber Torres at the 6, and then 7, 8, 9 kind of just figure it out. I think Boone's focusing too much on lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, and right now it's not working for us. We have to shake something up. I mean, look at the Mets. They were getting their asses beat every single game. They had a clubhouse meeting. They shook things up. Now they're the hottest team in baseball in the month of June.
Right. And I'm not mad at Judge getting a few less at bats, because he's another one that could use a nap. Like, he could use a rest day, and not even like DH. Like, because I'm worried about him preemptively, because let's face it, right? The way things are going. So I'm not saying it out loud though, because I don't want to be blamed. We have given up 120 runs in the last 15 games. Yeah, thank you for that, Lori. That makes me feel so much better. I'm feeling better all the time. And Sean, absolutely, there's been too many slumps at the same time. I'm just gonna pause there. This chat is rolling. Trying to get to as many of the comments as I can, but yeah,
John Birdie is definitely an injury that's underrated. And if he brought it up, John Birdie going down, and I think we forget about it because it happened so long ago and he was barely with us. But that was your utility third baseman, utility infielder when, DJ is struggling. So him going down, that really did hurt us. And Stanton going down was huge because he was so consistent. And to Joan's point, Clark Schmidt has started throwing again, which is such great news because they said 4 to 6 weeks on May 30th. So now he's already throwing. That's fantastic. So if we can have Schmidt back by playoff time, I'd be a happy camper. And I'm sure everybody else would be because he was our second best pitcher before he went down.
Right.
These injuries are killing us right now.
Which we never would have said during spring training. I know I wouldn't have said that, he'd be our second best pitcher. But yeah, he really has, proven himself in spades. So, but I am going to give out Spencer's trivia question of the week. So, hey, Spencer, thanks again for always doing this. So I'm going to give the preamble from Spencer. In an earlier episode right here on the Upper Deck, we remarked how in 1985, the Yankees became the only team to be both the recipient of and the winner of a 300th win for a pitcher. The Yankees lost to Tom Seaver and the White Sox, and then they helped Phil Niekro win his 300th game on the last game of that season against the Toronto Blue Jays. So on October 5th, 1985, New York Yankees pitcher Phil Niekro earned his 300th win during the last game of the season against the Jays in their former home stadium, which was the one before the Rogers Center. What was the name of that previous Blue Jays stadium? So where did Niekro get that 300th win? Which stadium in Toronto was it? What was the name of it? Okay, so have yourself a little ponder, and we'll get back to that at the end of the show. And if you want to,
one of my really good Twitter friends, Boogie, has already answered over on Twitter, so I'll give out his answer at the end with everyone in the chat.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, and if he's right, he'll feel good. If he's not, he'll like, why would you put that on Twitter? So, and I have a comment from Spencer also. Stanton's injury feels like a backbreaker for the Yankees. It's the injury that broke the camel's back. You can only handle so many injuries at once. It is true that it seems like since Stanton went down has really been, like all at once, like crunched together. And so I see, hey, Mr. Barrows, thanks for joining. So his guess is Exhibition Stadium. Maybe. We'll let you know at the end of the show. Nosebleed is saying the Sky Dome. Perhaps we'll let you know at the end of the show.
Boogie also says Exhibition Stadium over on Twitter. So
okay,
we got a lot of Exhibition Stadium guesses.
We'll just have to see about that. So
isn't it just back to your point about Stanton real quick? Isn't it interesting though that I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, a lot of fans really wanted Stanton out of this lineup. They said he was clogging up the lineup, get him off my team, DFA him, have somebody else eat his contract. What are we saying now? We need Stanton. So all those people who didn't want Stanton, now you're realizing how good he was in that lineup. And honestly, I love it. I love it.
Here's a question from Jared.
No.
Why not?
I don't think it's a problem because if I'm being honest, the AL and a few people said this in the chat earlier. We play terrible against the AL East. We always have. I don't know what the problem is, but we play bad against the Blue Jays. We play bad against the Red Sox. We play bad against the Orioles. Not really Tampa, but everyone else we play pretty bad against. But also, I'll go back to my earlier point. I would rather my team slump now in June. Everybody get your slump out of the way. So come August, September, we are rocking and rolling and just all working together and get into that World Series. I don't think it's a problem. Not yet, anyway.
I, on the other hand, am always worried about injuries all season long because they happen all season long. I can't think of a season where, one half of the season was like, no significant player being injured ever. And so, so this is the worry part of me more than the livid part of me. So, it's just, let's take that and hope it comes to be, Ciarra. But I also, I guess, want to feel like we still got to be ready for it. And, I saw some things flashing before my eyes about the trade deadline, and I didn't get to read them. That's how fast you guys are going, which we love in the chat. Um, I don't know if there's going to be any action at the trade deadline, but they should take this first half, especially this last week, but longer than that. The month of June, really, if we're being honest, the month of June, take that as a cautionary tale, and get over to the ATM, Hal, because I think we need to figure things out. Leading with the bullpen, and then having some more flexibility in the lineup, because of what we've seen, and to Ciarra's earlier point. So yeah, I just this Michael, I don't know if I'll go that far. I'm happy to get go back up to 120 level again of speed, but um I I remain. Someday soon I'll be optimistic again. Today I'm just letting it all hang out. Um 20 This is not 2023. 2023, I just want wiped from the books at this point. Even more so than we were, than when during the pandemic and 2022. But I get your point. It's been messy. Just like the prior years, several years have been messy. And so, and how many people with all these injuries do we even have a representative at the All-Star game? Um, so Stanton won't be there. Maybe, hopefully, Judge will be there, but um, so we'll see. And I don't know any results other than Judge have come through yet. And hey, TC, good to see you here. I didn't see you come in. Yep, it's who the Yankees are, to be honest. And you know what? It's not just the Yankees. I'm sure there are podcasts for every team's having the same discussions all the time. So, but it's about us entirely, as it should be. Um, so let's quickly talk about Soto and Volpe just a little bit more. So it makes me nervous that Soto is day to day. And it makes me nervouser that Boone is saying that they may have Soto go for some tests on Monday. And it made the guys in the booth, Ryan Rocco, who ends every sentence like this. He annoys me a little. So if you're listening, Rye, sorry, love you. They were so focused on why Soto's hand was in his hoodie pocket, like he's hiding it from everybody. The camera kept going to it. But Boone did say, yeah, he might need some tests. We might have that done in New York. Are we worried about Soto, or is he going to be available today?
I don't think he'll play today just because we have the off game. We have the off day tomorrow, so it makes more sense just to sit him and give him 3 days rest, because we have more important games coming up. It's only June. We still have like 78 games left. I think Soto knew what he was doing by hiding his hand. He is the focus in baseball this season, outside of Ohtani, is Juan Soto and what's he doing next season, and everybody is watching his every move. So I think he was just having fun with it. I think he'll be okay. I'm about 30% worried, 70% not worried. We sat him for a few games when his forearm had a little strain and he came back. I think he'll be okay. My only concern with Soto at this point is, like, can we fix his defense in the outfield? Other than that, I think he'll be okay.
Okay. So I like your odds much better than the odds that I'm not going to share that are in my head right now. And the other potentially down dog I'm worried about is Volpe. And so, Karen threw up there the part about, they have the worst conditioning and medical staff in MLB. I don't think she's wrong about that whatsoever. And there was so much focus on Volpe's foot yesterday, but we saw that replay so many times. He hit his head against the knee of, oh God, who was it first? He was annoying.
Turner.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm seeing too much red to remember things. Um, and remember his helmet flew off as he was running to the bag, so it was straight on head hit as he went down. And to Karen's point, I highly doubt anyone's thinking of checking his mental status and anything related to what could be a concussion protocol needed. So I'm pre-worrying about that because that's what I do when I'm not livid. I'm a warrior. So and the other down dogs we already know about. It's great news on Big G being on the treadmill, and Ciarra, if you feel he's going to be back. I've been protectively thinking after much after this the All-Star game. So but so are there any injuries that we should be talking about that we're missing that we haven't talked to death about because they're still out?
Well, I mean, Efros has been out since the beginning of the season. We should see him towards, August. Brubaker should also be back after the All-Star break. We acquired him earlier in the season when he was injured. So the bullpen should start getting more depth after the All-Star break, which is great because I don't know what is going on with this bullpen right now. But it's just not it. So it'll be great to have a few more names out there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Nosebleed. Maybe it was. They showed a few different angles, and I'm happy to blame my eyes. More than happy. But I remember because by the third replay, it was very clear about his foot. But then I saw another angle. I'm like, oh, rammed his head into the guy. So.
Yeah, it's death taxes and Anthony Volpe losing his helmet running to first base. It's
right.
inevitable.
I wasn't calling it out to say how uncommon. I was calling it out to say when it looked like he hit him, his helmet was off. Yeah. It's what he does because he's that fast. We know. All right. So then let's head out to who is the hot dogs this week, Ciarra?
Oh, all right. So I have a few, and they're going to be hot takes, so just bear with me, chat. I mean, Aaron Judge is the obvious one, so I'm just going to skip right over that. Hot dog to Gleyber Torres for Friday's game, and hot dog to Marcus Stroman as well. Gleyber Torres needed that game more than anybody else in that dugout. He said, "You know what, Stro? I hear you. I got you. 3-run home run his next at bat, or 2-run home run his next at bat." Overall, very good game from Gleyber Torres. And he seemed better defensively this series after being benched as well. And then Marcus Stroman, I am a Marcus Stroman fan. I always have been. I always will be, even when he played for the Mets, when he played for the Cubs. I love his attitude. I love his passion. And I know, maybe it was a weird time for him to get upset, but he lit a fire under the ass of everybody on that team on Friday's game. And we actually played baseball. We actually won a freaking game. So Stroman and Gleyber, those are my hot dogs for this week.
So here's the thing. This was going to be one of my hot takes, but I'm taking it now. And it's not going to be popular based on what I'm seeing in the chat. But I do not like the way Stroman handled things on the mound. To me, and I'm a Stroman fan. Everything else you said, Ciarra, I'm with you 100%. I've talked about that on previous shows. I didn't want him until I saw him in the uniform, and I've been all in ever since. But it is not I'm sorry, this is old school, but I'm old. I'm going to keep saying I'm old because, but and use it as an excuse and to get the discount, the AAA discounts on things. But the thing is that it's not the Yankee way. It's just, to call out your team on the field and become the subject of real news reels, highlight reels from every media source known to man and Twitter user, maybe even the ones that use the Facebook. It is not what we want living on. There's other ways of handling the business. So Stroman needs to regulate his emotions a little bit better. I'm scared to even look at the chat right now. You'll let me know. And everyone has those little moments. Say something really bad into your glove, and smell your breath while you're doing it, just in case. And then have your business, get it off your chest in the dugout, preferably in the tunnel, not even the dugout, because the cameras are going to follow you. No, not a good look. And I don't read lips well, but I knew exactly. I didn't need John Boy to know what he was saying. And so it's a bad look. It was clearly, just at least visually, directed at Glaber. I'm not saying that he was totally talking about Glaber.
Oh, it was 100% directed at Glaber.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. I was trying to be equivocal a little bit, but yeah, I thought so too. And save it for the dugout. I just found that disappointing and not what we're used to having values about. And
So-
you're gonna have to tell me about the Cubs player again, even though you told me before the show, Ciarra. The way to handle it is the way that guy did. What's his name?
Justin Steele, but I disagree.
Wait, let me finish my point about
Okay,
Justin.
go ahead.
I know I told you to get me down from 120 when I get there, but I just want to say he's the example of how it could be done. Wait until you get to the dugout and back to the cameras and say that stuff. And instead of, by the way, prancing through the dugout back and forth, saying it over and over again. So go ahead.
I disagree, and here's why. So Justin Steele, it's the same thing, okay? But what bothers me is the way that the media is painting Marcus Stroman out to be this villain when everybody knows Marcus Stroman, he is the guy with all of the emotions. And I think I relate to him, and I think that's why he doesn't upset me, because somebody needs to get in Glaber's face, okay? And I understand people don't want him to do it on the mound, but with Mendoza gone, there's nobody getting in Glaber's face telling him to do these things, that he needs to be better. And I'm saying this as Glaber Torres' biggest fan, okay? You guys know me. I am Glaber's biggest fan, but he can be lazy sometimes. Sometimes he just does things that are stupid. Now, in that moment, I don't think he could have turned the ball any faster, but I do think that Stroman lit a fire under him. And also, I will give credit to Judge for being the captain, going over to him saying, I get it. You're frustrated. I'm frustrated. We're all frustrated, but we don't do that here. And then Stroman was the first guy out of the dugout. You could still see the emotion on his face, but he was the first guy out of the dugout when Glaber hit that home run. And he apologized to his teammates, both in the clubhouse and publicly. And let's not forget, Tommy Kahnle beat the crap out of a fan last year, like a fan, not like a person, and nobody cared. I don't like the way that the media is portraying Stroman, because a lot of people are saying, oh, his jersey is untucked. He has a do-rag on. He's showing too much emotion. I don't like it. Leave Stroman alone. And I'm not saying this to you, Lynn. I respect your opinion 100%. But the things that people are saying about Stroman is ridiculous. He is a great teammate. And the other thing that bothers me about the media right now is Stroman is a great person. So the reason I'm such a big Stro fan is because when he was in Chicago, he did so much for the inner city youth. He did so much. He gave so much back to the city. And I'm sure he's doing the same in New York, but I'm not there, so I don't, see that news. Stroman will be okay. And the team doesn't hate Stroman for what he did. That's my 2 cents. I think what he did was okay, but I get why people are upset. When it comes to them talking about his jersey and his do-rag, that bothers me.
Okay, and that's funny, because the do-rag doesn't bother me at all, because hair is important, and
right,
so and his hair needs to be protected in some ways that the helmet won't, if he wants to keep the Stro style going on, which I respect. And hey, at least you got Raziel the Great. Thanks for joining, who thinks Stro should be manager. And I just want to be really clear, and this is why it was my hot take, is I'm a Stro fan too. I'm mad that his number is 0, because his number should be 100. And, I think he's everything you want in a Yankee, which I guess made me all the more angry, because I know, and, Karen and I, my sister, she's in the chat, we're talking last night about it, and I was going off much like I did now. And she said, but Stroman's always the first guy, like, out of the dugout, to congratulate people. You know, he does that, and you're 100% right. But and I know all those things, and he represents the Yankees so well. And it's great that I was very glad that he went public with it and private with it. That's what a good man does. I know he's a straight up guy. I know that he deserves to be in the pinstripes. I know that he's been a great get for us, and I'm really glad to have him. I just happen to think that that was a bad moment because people aren't going to remember the press conference and what he said, after that in those interviews. They're going to remember, this is going to be played and played and played at some point when it behooves people that have it. So, yeah, but I want to be very clear because I know Stroman listens. So, Stro, you and I are cool. All right. I love you. I just think, count to five even. Don't even count to 10. I know it's hard. And I know it was all about the passion. His intention wasn't, to really denigrate. The passion and the frustration. I totally get it. So back to hot dogs. And I still have another hot take, so I'm good. And I know you have a hot take. But so clearly Judge every week is one of the hot dogs. He's leading the MLB right now for RBI is at 80. And so what I don't know is if that's his career high. I would guess that he is. Yeah, and Joan, yes, teams are a family. They argue. Absolutely. But do teams argue in a restaurant? Do families argue? Well, okay, never mind. Yes, families do argue in a restaurant. Yeah. Some families wait until they get in the car. But yeah, I understand. They argue. Just it was just a forum for it. But yeah. I'm calming down now. Thanks, Joan, for that. And so and George, hey George, Gregory, sorry. Thanks. Sorry I missed you come in too. How about Rodon telling Booney he wasn't coming out with the relief arm running in from the dugout?
Rodon is my hot take, but I'll give it now. Rodon really bothered me the other day when he acted like that because not only the difference between Stroman and Rodon is we saw this attitude from Rodon last season where when he gets in trouble, he just becomes very difficult to work with and very cocky, and I don't like it. And I said last week, get off Rodon's back. It's Mental Health Awareness Month for men. But that was when he was crying and upset. This was different. He knew he was playing bad and he just was taking it out on Aaron Boone. And I don't think that's right. Like Aaron Boone, he does a lot of terrible things as a manager, but he doesn't control your pitches. That is on you, Rodon, to go out and be better each game. You put in the work, in the offseason to be a better pitcher. We saw at the beginning of the season. Where did that go? We've had 2 bad starts now, and now all of it's going to go out the window, all the work that you did. I don't like it. Lose your attitude or sit on the bench.
Right. And I'm with you on that. Maybe he needs to go back to the mountains for a month or so. Maybe during the All-Star break, he could go do that and get his head back to where it was at. And now we have everybody talking about their families and if they argue in public. I can't read. There's some funny comments here. Lori gets popcorn because her neighbors argue all the time on the front lawn. Okay, and let's see what NFE had to say. You have to know frustrations happen. These guys travel and play together. Yeah. And they'll do that until February because yes, they are going to be in the postseason. All right. Well, so my other hot dog is Glaber. Because you could say that, what happened on was because of the lightning striking from Stroman, but it continued yesterday as well. Mm-hmm. Glaber now has 2 days in a row that he's been producing. And so he's on a streak. I'll take that 2-game streak. And so hopefully he's finding a little bit of a groove that he can continue with. So I think he deserves to be a hot dog. Do you have anyone else that you thought was hot?
No, but I will give a shout out to DJ LeMahieu for getting his first extra base hit in what feels like 74 years. It's so funny because on Friday I said DJ has good numbers against Kikuchi. He's going to get an extra base hit today. He didn't get it off of Kikuchi, but he still got it. And it was just really nice to see it happen. And somebody in the dugout asked if they could get that ball for him. And I thought that was hilarious.
Well, it feels like that's something that could go on eBay for auction for high dollars. We've been waiting so long for it. Hey, D-Rod, I didn't see you come in either. And so he's on the family thing. Even worse, they'll argue in a live stream chat. Did I miss a family thing going on in our chat? That's juicy. Or maybe we're talking about somewhere else. But like I said, I'm Lori, I'm making popcorn too, but it's to come back and watch these comments flying by. So I'm gonna enjoy that later for sure. So all right, so who do we got in the doghouse? Don't worry, guys, not Stroman. Not doing that. Wouldn't dare. I have someone in the doghouse. I think that Nestor's in the doghouse because he just hasn't all season really, with a few exceptions, found the Nestor thing. And and again, it's always the same complaint I have, but his pitches are all over the place, like no command, no location, any consistency. And getting behind in the counts all the time. So yeah, get it together. He's my doggy in the doghouse.
Yeah, I mean, to your point too. So Nestor is consistently inconsistent. He's a totally different pitcher at Yankee Stadium than he is on the road, which is absolutely insane. But I say Verdugo because that first game in Boston, he played like a maniac. So I don't know if he sold his soul to the devil to be able to have one good game against his old team, but he's played like crap since. And like I said earlier, he's trying way too hard to fill Stanton's shoes, and it's not working. The first half of the season, he had Stanton behind him, so he didn't have to worry about it because they're going to pitch the Verdugo over Stanton. Now he's trying too hard. I think we need to slot him up to the 2 spot or do something. And then also Rodon is, I mean, that's very clear a few moments ago. Rodon's in my doghouse because his behavior is very childish lately, and he needs to get over himself.
Yeah, and it's affecting his ERA for sure. I know somebody put numbers up higher up in the chat about that.
It's like 17 in the last 3 starts.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember it being double digits before the decimal, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, Doogie definitely is in his own doghouse because, yeah, he's got to figure it out. And Nosebleed is saying the whole bullpen should be in the doghouse.
Bickford just got DFA'd.
It would really, really be hard to argue with that. And I'm all for an argument today, as you can see. So, and hey, we, Christopher Cancel. Hey, always glad to have a fan from another fan base in here. Were you by any chance here from the beginning when we posted about the Mets series? You may or may not want to play back to the beginning of the show. But look, it was all about the Mets being, great. Anyway, he says, I'm a Mets fan, but I think you guys will do fine this afternoon.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. I feel like if we win, I need to send you a check. Because yeah, this rubber game really matters to me. And dare I say us? I think I could say us without really daring to. And you wish us luck. Why can't all Mets fans be like Christopher Cancel? Love it. Come back. Keep coming back. Keep being a good example of a Mets fan. It might make me a better Yankees fan about the Mets. So I'm going to use you as a role model. So let's then go to next thing. So I do have finally a farm dog to talk about, and I prepped Ciarra in advance because we know that she will be the defender of Gleyber Torres in the way that many of you in the chat know I was about Cardi. But I came across an article from Max Goodman, and it was basically, have the Yankees found Glaber's replacement at second base? So, anyone been keeping their eye on Caleb Durbin? Um,
I have.
yeah, I know you have. Why don't you go ahead? Go ahead.
So my friend Dane Huber likes to remind me that Caleb Durbin can be the replacement for Gleyber Torres next season. He, obviously he was dealing with the injury this year, but since coming back from his injury, he actually looks very good in AAA right now. However, I don't see it. It's not going to happen this season. Gleyber is our second baseman for the rest of this season, and I'm sorry, you guys are just stuck with him. I don't even know what else to say at this point, because if Gleyber's not here next year, it is what it is. But this season, he is our second baseman. I would like to see Gleyber be the Gleyber he was for the past 2 days for the rest of this season. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and NFE and LI. Hey, LI. Thanks for
I
joining.
thought he was back from his injury. Is he still
so
injured?
too. Yeah. But I guess he is. I thought he was going to be playing last night. But I could be very wrong about that. And it's not that he's a noted prospect yet. Although I did read another article, not by Goodman, that they expect him in the second half of the season to start being in the conversation about one of the top prospects. He did make it to AAA, on a bolt. I mean, so that promotion was kind of quicker than one would expect. And the notes I have on him was that literally he's a manager's dream in the leadoff spot. So that caught my eye because, I think we could use. I'm not, Volpe's been okay, but he hasn't been like DJ level when DJ was DJ. And so if there's any merit to that, then, that already got me at hello. And I love the little guardiness to him because he's scrappy, they said. I love the word scrappy. And he's only 5'6". He's a young kid, and he has exceptional bat speed. So it seems like he's the package. But I don't want Ciarra to worry. I think that really odds are pretty even, if not tipping in Glaber's favor, for re-signing. But yeah, he's not going anywhere until the end of the season, and I really agree with that. But looking at his stats, right now he's had 34 runs, 53 hits, 36 RBIs, and his OPS is 87.871. So I'm just putting him out as one of the farm dogs because we haven't talked about prospects in a while, and might be a name we'll be hearing. It's another Caleb. I mean, what's with the Calebs lately? I've been hearing different Calebs all over the place, not just on the Yankees. So anyway, and right now the infield has been the thing, but now they're trying to see what he could do in the outfield. So one way or another, Gleyber aside, we still might be seeing him as a piece in the outfield. So we'll have to see. Did you have any prospect mentions, Ciarra? Or I think Durbin might have been it.
No, because I don't. Because the thing is, our prospects are injured. Our guys in the big leagues are injured. We're just injured all over the place. Because Dominguez is injured, and then Spencer Jones he's not ready. So I got nothing.
Right. Okay. And D-Rod, you bring up a good point. Yeah, you'd have rookies at first and second base. I really don't consider Volpe a rookie anymore. Oh, second year, you said. Okay, gotcha. Yep. But that's a good point about the rookie thing. So, but just keep an eye out. That's all. Okay, hot takes time. Well, I'll give you mine. My hot take is that Grisham has been looking like a better get than Twitter seems to be acknowledging. I think that He's playing the field like the Gold Glover that he is, which I think was the main reason they brought him up, and or brought him over, under, whatever you choose the preposition. That's why he's here, mostly was because needed some depth in the infield as backup, and I'm so glad we have him, because we could have had scores in triple digits if he weren't there a couple of times this weekend. And his bat has been clutch. More, not just in this series we're in right now, but earlier in the week as well. So I'm not quite team Grisham yet, but I know it's a hot take to say that I think he was a good get, and that we're probably going to be needing him and relying on him, and I think we'll be able to count on him for that.
Yeah, I think fans need to remember that T stands for Trent, and as the season goes on. So my hot take, it actually kind of has to go with the comments going on in the chat right now, and I had this conversation the other day with somebody on Twitter. I know the Yankees need to have a good mix of young and old, right? But I do not think calling up all of our young talent right now is the answer. So DJ LeMahieu, he's probably up to 80-something at bats right now. I don't think taking the bat out of LeMahieu, Gleyber Torres out of their hands is going to help this team. I don't think, not giving Austin Wells more time at the plate is going to help this team. We have Austin Wells up here, and he's barely playing. So if the Yankees bring up younger guys, they're not going to play. They're going to sit on the bench, which doesn't help their development at all, and it doesn't help the team. So at the end of the day, I think that the Yankees do need to make a big acquisition at the trade deadline, whether it's for third base, relief pitchers. But bringing up the whole farm system is not going to solve the slump that we're in.
I think all of that is really fair. So did you use up all your hot takes?
Yeah, because I talked about Rodon earlier, and I talked about Verdugo. So yeah, I'm out of hot takes.
Okay. So quick mention about next week. We're literally and figuratively seeing red because we face the Reds, and then the Red Sox come to our house. And so I'm trying to shift back to the real me. Ciarra, you already were the optimist. What are you thinking about the Reds and the Red Sox? What are our odds going to look like?
So when it comes to the Reds, the Reds, so they have Elly De La Cruz, right? One of the hottest young players in baseball, but he also has the most errors in baseball. So if that version of Elly De La Cruz can show up and screw up some games for the Reds, I'd be okay with that. I'm looking forward to this Red Sox series, though, because the Yankees need revenge. They embarrassed us in Fenway. The umpire needs to strike back, okay? I need all the Red Sox fans to understand that the Yankees are still in it to win it this season, and that they're coming into our house, and it's going to be our series to win. I think we're about to go on a hot streak when we leave Toronto. That's what I think.
And I support those thoughts. I think so too. I think that we were spanked almost as badly by the Red Sox as we were by the Mets. And I'm not just saying that because Christopher Cancel is here. We did. We utterly got schooled and put on sent to detention for life. It was horrible. I really don't want to live that dream again. So there's definitely some, and the Reds, I really don't have anything either way to say about it other than please friggin' beat the Reds, everybody. So let me go back up to the trivia question of the week and the answer. So there were good answers in the chat, right? There was Exhibition Stadium, there was the Sky Dome, and a few others. But here we go. Here's the answer to the trivia question of the week. And the winner is Exhibition Stadium, ladies and gentlemen. So those of you that got the answer right, there it is for you. Thank you again, Spencer, for giving us a timely, relevant question about the team that we would love to forget after today. Oh, and I'm catching up. Spencer wanted Bickford in the doghouse.
He's
Yeah.
DFA.
They DFA'd Bickford. I missed that news.
It came through while we were still alive. So yeah, they DFA'd him after his really bad outing yesterday.
Well, all right. So that's karma. That's karma answering us right away. And so, as always, let me just remind everybody, first of all, that we're so grateful that you join every week. Thank you to everyone that we saw for the first time today. We hope that we were fun enough for you to come back. I know the chat is on fire, and it's like that every week. And if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button on your way out or right at this very moment, and share with your friends, and please subscribe to Pinstripe Chronicles. That's the channel. That's our family. You're watching the live stream on that channel. So hit the bell to subscribe. Doesn't cost a thing, but it means a lot. And you have our follow information right there for Ciarra and me and Pinstripe Chronicles. Pinstripe Chronicles, guys, come on. This channel, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Ciarra often joins them. And so they're outstanding shows. A lot of you in the chat are there all the time. And if my hours of employment were different, I would be there. It's a great show. And so the chat, listen, I say it all the time, but you are our co-hosts. And the chat was on fire today. And let me answer Christopher real fast. Well, Chris, it's the question of the day right now. He did hurt his hand. X-rays were negative. They sat him yesterday, and he may be getting tests tomorrow. I think the proof will be in the pudding on whether they sit him today. I think that'll be a little bit telling. The lineup's probably out, but we've been busy having fun with all of you. As always, we're so grateful for you. Ciarra, any last words?
Yeah, shout out to the chat. You guys rocked today. You definitely had the conversations flowing. As always, I had a ton of fun. Once I start talking about something, especially like, Strowman or Glaber, I can't stop. The lineup is not out yet. I just checked. I don't know what's going on because the game starts in an hour. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Loved having you here for our Sunday afternoon show.
Yep. And so as for me, as you know, as always, you'll have a reserved seat right here on the upper deck with Ciarra and me. And remember, we represent the team that are the pride, the power, and the pinstripes. So let's go, Yankees!